Ever wondered what it's like to be an INTP female? Picture a mind that's a labyrinth of logic, where curiosity is the compass, and where wit and intellect are the language of choice. Imagine navigating life with a unique lens that others seldom understand. Yes, we're about to delve deep into the world of the INTP female, exploring the struggles only they will understand, the puzzles they grapple with, and the paradoxes they embody. Stay tuned as we unravel the enigma that is the INTP female. Picture this. You're an ENTP female with a wicked sense of humor, but everyone else thinks you're innocent. Yes, the quiet, introspective nature of the INTP female often leads to some interesting misconceptions. You see, the introverted thinking that dominates their cognitive function often makes them come across as reserved, thoughtful, and, yes, at times, seemingly innocent. But here's the kicker. This innocence is often a misinterpretation of their introspective nature. It's not that they're not capable of banter or a good, edgy joke. Quite the opposite. INTP females have a uniquely sharp and often dark sense of humor. They're quick to catch on to subtleties and love a good intellectual pun. The irony? This wicked wit often goes unnoticed, hidden beneath layers of introverted contemplation. So, the next time you think of an INTP female as innocent, remember, there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. Yet, beneath the surface lies a rich, complex personality full of surprises. Honesty is a virtue, but for INTP females, it's often misunderstood as arrogance. Now let's delve into this. Our INTP ladies are logical and straightforward, no beating around the bush. They value truth and clarity, which means they won't sugarcoat their words or opinions to make them more palatable. They believe in the power of honesty, and they carry this belief into their everyday interactions. But here's the catch. This straightforwardness, this blunt honesty, can sometimes be perceived as aloof or even arrogant. It's not that they're trying to be dismissive or superior, they're just being, well, honest. Their objective is not to offend, but to communicate clearly and effectively. So the next time an INTP woman comes across as a bit too forthright, remember it's not a sign of arrogance. It's simply their unique way of expressing their thoughts and opinions. Remember, it's not arrogance, it's just honesty. INTP females often find themselves fascinated by subjects that others might find unconventional. This characteristic is often a double-edged sword. On one hand, these niche interests ignite their curiosity and fuel their never-ending quest for knowledge. They might immerse themselves in the world of quantum physics, delve into the intricacies of an obscure historical event, or even find exhilaration in decoding a complicated programming language. On the other hand, these unique interests don't always align with those of their peers. This can lead to a sense of isolation, as they may struggle to find others who share their enthusiasm for such topics. They might feel misunderstood or even odd for their unconventional passions, yet it's these same passions that make them unique and special. Their niche interests are a testament to their open-mindedness, intellectual curiosity, and individuality. So while it can sometimes feel like a struggle, it's essential to remember, these interests are what make them unique and special. Routine is the enemy of the INTP female. Now, this isn't to say that they can't handle routine. On the contrary, they can adhere to a schedule when necessary. But when it comes to their interests, their passions, their pursuits, oh, that's a different story altogether. Picture a hummingbird flitting from flower to flower, always in search of the sweetest nectar. That's the INTP female mind, always on the move, always seeking the new, the exciting, the intellectually stimulating, the mundane, the routine, the everyday. Those are like empty flowers to them, devoid of the nectar they crave. They thrive on intellectual stimulation, on solving complex problems, on delving into the intricacies of a subject. Mundane tasks, routines, those are like shackles to them, limiting their freedom to explore, to learn, to grow. So they might get bored easily with routine tasks, but remember, their minds are always seeking the new, the exciting, the intellectually stimulating. Analyzing others, easy. Analyzing themselves, that's a different story. For the INTP female, the world is a fascinating puzzle, and every person is a piece that can be studied, dissected, and understood. They're the Sherlock Holmes of their social circles, always noticing patterns and reading between the lines. But when it comes to self-reflection, things get a tad bit complicated. They may find themselves feeling awkward, unsure, even uncomfortable. Why? It's because they're trained to think objectively, to detach themselves from the equation. But self-analysis requires a level of subjectivity and emotional introspection that can feel foreign to them. It's like asking a fish to climb a tree. They're out of their element, and that's okay. It's a paradox that can be both challenging and endearing, a quirk that makes them who they are. It's a paradox that only an INTP female can truly understand. Being an INTP female often feels like being a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit. It's as if you're standing on the periphery of a circle, watching the world from a unique vantage point that others can't quite comprehend. Your mind is a labyrinth of thoughts, ideas, and questions that swirl around in an intricate dance of logic and imagination. This distinct cognitive style, characterized by introverted thinking and extroverted intuition, tends to set you apart from the herd. You process information differently, diving deeper, questioning more, and exploring every nook and cranny of a concept. This can lead to a sense of being misunderstood, of being different from most other girls. It may seem like a struggle at times, like you're constantly trying to translate your thoughts into a language that others can understand. But remember, it's okay to be different, because it's this very difference that makes you, you. For an INTP female, life often feels like a movie they're observing rather than participating in. This is not to say they're not engaged or interested, quite the contrary. They're just so fascinated by the world around them. They often find themselves observing and analyzing situations, rather than jumping in head first. This observer stance allows them to see patterns, connections, and insights that others might miss. Their minds are constantly working, gathering information, processing it, and coming up with unique perspectives. It's as though they're the directors of their own lives, carefully crafting the narrative from behind the scenes. However, this can sometimes lead to feelings of detachment or disconnection from their surroundings. While this isn't necessarily a negative thing, it can sometimes make it challenging for them to fully engage in the moment. But remember, it's not detachment. It's just a different way of experiencing life. Emotions for an INTP female are like a foreign language that they're still learning. They're the linguists of logic, the polyglots of patterns, but when it comes to the dialect of feelings, it's like they've landed in a country where they don't speak the language. They can struggle to understand their own emotional responses, let alone express them to others. A wave of sadness or a burst of joy feels like a cryptic crossword puzzle, a challenge to be solved rather than an experience to be felt. They might even attempt to analyze their emotions, to dissect them with the scalpel of logic, but emotions aren't logical. They're messy and convoluted and deeply human. This emotional struggle can sometimes lead to misunderstandings, to accusations of being cold or detached. But remember, just because they express their feelings differently doesn't mean they don't have them. But every language can be learned, and emotions are no exception. An INTP female's mind is like a chess player, always planning several moves ahead. This is not because they're paranoid, but because their analytical nature and love for problem solving pushes them to anticipate all possible outcomes. They can see a myriad of potential scenarios, each one branching out from the next, like a vast, intricate web of possibilities. This habit of overplanning often focuses on unexpected chaos that rarely arises. For instance, they might spend hours devising a detailed contingency plan for a trip, only to have everything go smoothly. Or they could lose sleep planning for an argument that never happens. This might seem excessive to some, but for the INTP female, it's a natural extension of their logical, strategic mind. While this trait can sometimes lead to unnecessary stress, it also means they are rarely caught off guard. So, the next time you see an INTP female apparently lost in thought, remember this: it's not overthinking, it's just being prepared. Avoiding conflict is an art for the INTP female, but the internal irritation can be a silent battle. This is a paradox that many INTP females find themselves grappling with. They value harmony, and their natural inclination towards logical consistency often leads them to sidestep potential conflicts. Yet when inconsistencies and illogical behavior arise, it can cause a significant amount of internal irritation. This internal struggle, though silent, is intense, like a simmering volcano. It's a battle between their desire for peace and their need for logical order. And while they might not express their irritation outwardly, it doesn't mean it's not there. It's a constant tug of war, an ongoing silent conflict that can be draining. But remember this: every silent conflict faced is an opportunity for growth. It's an invitation to understand oneself better, to develop patience and tolerance. Silent battles are the hardest, but they are also the most transformative. So, there you have it, the fascinating world of an INTP female. From the innocent yet risque humor, the blunt honesty, to the unique interests and the silent internal conflicts. These struggles are what make you special. And remember, these aren't struggles. They're just different ways of engaging with the world. Enjoyed this deep dive into the INTP female personality? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Interesting Psychology for more such insights.